And people were really zoomed in down there. I mean, they were really zoomed in and really looking like Zapruder film type of shit right there. So, yeah, I mean, some of the videos I saw, it was all blown up and everything. I was like, damn, they're getting all in my business right there.
That was last week when we were discussing the fact that during the Saturday night exclusive Peacock game, putting new meaning to the term Peacock.
Let me show you my peacock.
Chris's zipper was open. The peacock was out of the barn, as they would say.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
yeah. I have these runs of, and I think I told the story last week. I don't think I told it on here. But my wife texted me after the first segment of the show about tuck your shirt in more. And, you know, I'm doing it, seeing it during commercial break. And, of course, they're telling me, hey, get ready to go over here. And I didn't zip my zipper up. So, yeah, that was pitiful. But I have these moments, and I don't know what it is. Like, I go through little stints or runs of, for whatever reason, I have a mental block about zipping my zipper, my fly. I get done at the urinal, I button my button on my pants, I do the belt second, and then I'll forget to do the zipper. And I was in a run right there of like, I'm not joking you, it was probably the 10th time that week where I went out and was like, oh gosh, I got to pull up my zipper. So what a freaking idiot I am. There it is. Thank you for the video evidence here. I mean, you really can't, I mean, you can see a little gap right here, but man, this just tells me people like me a lot because they really must have been focused down there. I mean, I must be a man in demand because they were like, woo, look at him down there. Oh, whoa, wait, hold on. Illegal man junk zippers down. Let me zoom in on that. And then the pictures I saw online were hilarious. So, yeah, thanks a lot. That was embarrassing.
Well, Vince Wilfork may have been looking to see if things were still purple and yellow from
Right.
all those years ago. I will acknowledge that the same thing happens to me. You know, I'm big into jeans. I wear jeans all the time. Jeans are just easy. They're simple. And it's button, it's belt, and sometimes I forget about the zip. And it'll I'll be walking, and I don't leave the house very often, but like I'll be walking into the store from my car, and it's like, I think my zipper's down, so like I'm going to pull my zipper up as I'm walking through the parking lot. It's like, you know, the guy with the surveillance camera is going to wonder where I pissed.
What was he just doing in his truck?
Lot.
Yeah, exactly right, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, that's right. I see Steven Merch 5505. Yeah, whole new. You know, if you're going to go on button, you might as well go unzipped too. You know, it's got to work together. It's team chemistry there. Jeez.
Well, maybe you could change the name of the podcast. Unzippered. Unzippered. I kind of like unzippered.
Well, maybe it should be a segment.
Or unzippered?
It should be another segment, right? It's like, but it'd have to be some catchy stuff there. When I'm unbuttoned talking about football, when we go unzipped, it goes to a whole nother level about talking about other stuff and deep diving.
There's something else I could say at this point that I just won't.
Oh, you sure? I mean, I'd love to hear it at this point. I'd like it. Come on.
well, I mean, there is. You need to be careful with the zipper because it can inflict damage if you zip too quickly. Well, and I've been there and done that.
So
that's
we
all I'm
all
gonna say.
We've all learned about something about Mary, right? I mean, how did you get the berries above the the twigs?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
How did you?
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
How'd you get the berries above the twigs? That's so good.
And the shot.
Yes.
And the shot
right.
of like, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Classic moment.
Yeah.
One of those moments you'll never forget watching a movie theater going, oh my gosh, I was in public literally crying about a scene in a movie, and that definitely was one of them.
One very important reason to never go commando. The zipper
Seriously.
is a significant hazard to a sensitive part of the anatomy. With that, we move on to the wild card weekend. There is no segue from that to the looming six-pack of games. Oh, there! Look,
I like it.
Come on, that's just mailing
That's
it in.
lazy,
You
right?
could have come up with something.
That's lazy,
right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm disappointed.
Okay.
I'm disappointed in Pete right there. I mean, he's usually better than that. And he didn't even use a true cut out of
holidays.
your head. I mean, that's not your head there. I mean, he couldn't even use a true
that
cutout.
looks like Brock Purdy.
Right. I don't know who the hell that is.
That looks more like Chris than it does like me. It looks like Brock Purdy for me, and it does kind of look like Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's Brock Purdy-ish, though. I think I agree with you there.
Yeah. Okay, so straight up, you picked up 2 more, and I against the spread, I thought it was over. Stop the count. Holy shit, I'm only got a 3-game lead.
I'm rope-a-doping you, baby.
Games to go in the postseason.
I'm rope-a-doping you.
Lord.
I'm Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali. I'm just sitting back there letting you get tired out, and then I'm going to come back and hit you with a few haymakers.
I am ahead in the one category that you care about the most. How am I up? I can't be up by 3. Am I by 3?
Yeah,
am I really
you
up
are.
by 3 in best bets? Is that accurate?
Thanksgiving and Christmas Day killed me. They killed me. They were days where you did okay, and I didn't do good on those extra bet weeks, and they put me behind. But I'm not giving up hope.
That's the one you care about the most. That's the one you care about the most.
Straight up and that are definitely the ones I want to win more than others, right? I want to win them all, and we'll see. I got some work to do here.
We had 6 disagreements straight up. You got 4 of them. We had 8 disagreements against the spread. You had 6 of them. Good Lord, that's just bad.
Yes,
that's bad. I've been horrible against the spread lately.
I wish we had the tape
early on.
Right, you were. Remember the tape last week when I was picking some of those games that you disagreed with? You're like, oh my gosh, you're really gonna try to let me win. You're gonna pick the Browns over the Bengals. Oh my gosh, you freaking idiot. Yes.
Well, last week was such a crazy week. I mean, with so many games, it didn't mean anything.
Yes.
Who's really playing, who's not, who's trying, who's not, where are the starters playing, where are the starters not playing. Week 18 is always a tough go. But you were 11-5, 10-6 against the spread week 18. That's not bad. Okay. So, let's I did however, the pasta and meatballs recipe has been recalibrated. It's no longer ketchup and egg noodles like some schnook. It is back on track for the Steelers. I have reconnected that psychic energy. The Malocchio was helpful. Don't get me. Don't
point it over here, man. Watch out. Don't point it over here.
Saving it for Monday night when I go to the game. When I go to the game in Pittsburgh, I'll be ready to do the double-barreled Malocchio as needed for the Steelers and the Texans if I do pick the Steelers to win the game. We begin with the first game.
Aaron Rodgers.
I like what he's doing. I like what the Steelers are doing. It's fun. It's fun. And they get DK Metcalf back, and we'll talk about that coming up. For now, the first game, the traditional worst game of the wild card slate, lands in the Saturday afternoon window. The 5th-seeded Rams at 12-5 are visiting the 4th-seeded Panthers, who are 8-9. Last time they played, the Rams were favored by 9.5 in Carolina, and the Panthers won. This time around, the Rams are favored by 10.5 in Carolina with an over-under of 46.5. It's the biggest spread of the week. I am 14-3 in picking the winners of Rams games this year. I've picked Carolina to win just 4 times this season. 71 degrees with a chance of thunderstorms in Carolina. So the weather shouldn't matter unless it rains without the thunderstorm, because we know what happens if there's a thunderstorm. What happens is they go inside and they wait for it to pass. Who do you like?
Well, I know. I do look at that and go, even without thunder and lightning or whatever, right? I would think that the rain would hurt the Los Angeles Rams a little bit. I mean, I guess they're a more team that is predicated on speed, and they rely on the passing game more. So that does, like, I would worry about that. But on top of that, right, I went back and watched the first matchup and kind of just broke it down, because I remember I had watched the Rams offense in that game, but I didn't go back and watch Carolina's offense and what they did. Here's some of the things that jumped out to me, Mike. One, I do think the Panthers match up pretty well with the Los Angeles Rams. That would be the first thing I'd tell you. The second thing you've heard me say is, hey, E.J. Evero, the defensive coordinator from the Rams, he's rooted in Los Angeles. Defensive coordinator of the Panthers, is rooted in Rams coaching history. I mean, it's all follow that coaching tree. He's from Raheem Morris, right? He understands the Rams offense. So they do have that. The other thing that jumped out watching it is, and you know this, Carolina can run the ball. You know, it stinks that they don't have their big right guard, Hunt, right, who's one of the better guards in football, and he's been out for quite some time. But the rest of the group, they got some big road graders up there. And this is a Rams defensive line that's not real big. They're not predicated, again, like I said, on size. They're a little bit more about speed and chaos, create chaos, mess up the running schemes that way. The Panthers ran the ball pretty much at will on the Los Angeles Rams. And what I would tell you, too, is I don't even think they ran the ball enough. Their approach was really run the ball, throw screens, throw boots, run the ball, throw screens, throw boots. They didn't get much from the drop-back passing game except on the 2 fourth-down conversions that went for touchdowns, right? But that I could see them chewing up clock and taking some time off the clock that way, and I think that's interesting, Mike. So within that, you know, I give Carolina a fighting chance to stay close here and keep the clock going and keep Stafford off. The other side of this, too, and why I think they should do that, is the Rams. I know Matthew Stafford threw 2 interceptions. The Rams did whatever they wanted on offense, running, passing, whatever. They really were never stopped throughout the day. Stafford threw an out route behind Puka Nacua, and Mike Jackson did a great job, pick 6, and Stafford's interception in the end zone. But they really had their way. And that's where the Panthers D has to change it up a little bit, because I think if they're going to do what they did the first time around, they're going to get totally torn apart here. I think the Panthers hang around because of the weather and the run game. And I think they know that they can't get in a shootout. They're going to have to chew up clock and play that way. I'm taking the Rams to win, of course, but the 10.5 points is too much for me. I'm going to say Rams 27-20 in this one.
I hear everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think everything changes in the playoffs.
It
and
might.
I think the Rams understand that they are one of the best teams in football, and they have to prove it 1 week at a time. As I said earlier today on PFT Live, the fact that it's the first game of the weekend means they won't know whether or not winning the game delivers a return trip to Seattle, so they won't be peeking past the Panthers. And the fact that they lost to the Panthers is something that will keep them from being caught napping a second time. I think this is an all-hands-on-deck, let's go kick the crap out of the Panthers if we can. I'm not saying they will. I don't want to be dragged by Sir Purr if it turns out that the Panthers win, because who knows? They could. I just think this is a game where the Rams show why they were the number 1 team not that long ago, up until they blew the lead, the 16-point lead against the Seattle Seahawks in the epic Thursday night game from only 3 weeks ago, and it seems like 3 years ago. But they're going to reassert themselves. The Panthers are 8-9 for a reason,
right.
And I feel like this is one where the Rams put the pedal to the metal, and they put everyone on notice that you're going to have to deal with us, and you're going to have to beat us. Seahawks, Bears, Eagles, whoever.
Yep.
The Rams are going to be a force to be reckoned with, and when the issue has come up in recent days, somebody says to me, who's going to win the Super Bowl? My first knee-jerk thought is the Rams.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think the Rams, because they lost already, and because it was just a matter of Matthew Stafford uncharacteristically not protecting the football, I think they'll know how to deal with it this time. 34-17. I think the Rams win, and it sets the stage for a compelling divisional round matchup where the Rams are going to be on the road, and they're going to be very dangerous against whoever they play.
Yeah, no doubt. And Mike, I don't think your thoughts are crazy by any stretch of the imagination. I don't. I certainly could see it going that way as well. And, I talked about that Robert Hunt, right, the guard for the Panthers. He by all due accounts, looks like he's going to be back here. He's one of the best guards in football, so that'll be interesting. The Rams, too, getting Quentin Lake back, their safety, who's really an all-pro caliber type of player. To have him back in the back end will be big, too. And listen, I will not be making this a best bet. That's what I will be telling you right off the bat. I worry that it could be like you're talking about. Like it could be, Panthers are hanging around, and then it's 24-17 Rams, and then they finally make a stop or something. And then the Rams, boom, 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 right down the field. And all of a sudden it's 31-17, just like that. I certainly could see that happening. To me, there's definitely, avenues of both ways here. I don't see Carolina having any chance to win the football game. I could see it happening your way, or their run game works to where they chew up clock and make it a little more uncomfortable than the Rams would like.
One last point about the Carolina Panthers, and this hadn't dawned on me until after the morning show today. We've been talking about the fact that there are teams that currently have coaches who have reached out to Brian Harlan, the agent of John Harbaugh. I hadn't thought about David Tepper possibly asking himself, based upon his time as a minority owner of the Steelers. He was there in Pittsburgh. He has roots in Pittsburgh. He knows what John Harbaugh can do. I've put the Panthers in the keep an eye on them too. If they get blown off the field by the Rams, Dave Canales is 13-21 in 2 seasons, 38% win percentage. John Harbaugh is 61.2% win percentage in 18 years with the Ravens. That's another one to just pasta and meatballs. Keep an eye on it, because if they get embarrassed and Tepper thinks he could get Harbaugh, it wouldn't surprise me if they make that move, even though, hey, we won the division. How could Dave Canales be fired? We won the division. Well, they're 8-9. 8-9 and possibly got blown out at home by the Rams, demonstrating how far they have to go to truly compete in the NFC. All right, next up, we have the Saturday night game streaming on Amazon Prime. Please keep complaining to me about the fact that the game is available only on streaming, because we actually are now employed by Prime Video, not by NBC and Peacock. Please keep the complaints coming, but you'll have to get Prime Video if you want to watch the game and you don't live in Green Bay or Chicago, and this would be a reason to do it. They meet for the 3rd time this year, only the 3rd time ever the Packers and Bears are meeting in the postseason. The last time was the 2010 NFC Championship game. Remember that one? Jay Cutler criticized because he had a knee injury and he didn't keep playing. The Packers went in as the 6th seed. They ran the table, blew out the Falcons, who were the top seed, won in Chicago, won the Super Bowl that year. The Packers at 9-7-1. Visit Soldier Field, where the Bears are 11-6. Green Bay is favored on the road by 1.5 with an over-under of 45.5. They have not won a game since Micah Parsons tore his ACL against the Broncos. They've lost that game and every game since then. Do they turn it around now? By the way, it's going to be 34 degrees with 15-mile-per-hour winds, gusting up to 35. Who wins?
Wow. This is, classic showdown. I love this. I think this is a coin toss football game. It's another one that I'll throw out there and tell you it will not be a best bet for me, right? In both matchups, going back, I've watched the film on those games. I'm not trying to be annoying here by saying that. I'm just letting people know the context of where I'm basing some of my observations here, right? The Green Bay Packers outplayed Chicago in both matchups, right? Won the first one at home with the Bears having a chance on the last play of the game, and Caleb Williams throws the interception, but controlled the flow of the football game. The second matchup, same thing. I mean, you talked about it earlier this week. It was 16-6, and it was like, hey, this is over. And the Bears offense hadn't done a whole lot, and they put a drive together, and it's touchdown and field goal, and then they did the overtime, and it made their stats and their performance maybe look a little bit better than what it actually was. Jeff Hafley has shown the ability to understand how Ben Johnson operates with the Chicago Bears offense, right? But at the same time, right, I would pick the Packers, okay? I would pick the Packers if they weren't in this perceived, what you kind of just talked about, a funk. They're in a funk. I mean, yes, the Micah Parsons injury, and then Jordan Love on top of that. I just don't know if I can just go, oh, Jordan Love's going to come back. I know he made a comment yesterday that he's locked in, right? I get that. But, man, not practicing and not being out there and not, throwing routes at full speed and having that timing and rhythm, it's not just as easy as just getting back out there on a bike. So that's where I look at it and go, I just don't know what to expect from the Packers. I'm going to take the Bears because they're at home. They've been playing. Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson off of a not very good performance last week. I'm going to say that history has shown me they usually bounce back. I think they realize it's going to be on them to win this football game. I also think it's easier for the Bears to defend the Packers with Jordan Love than it is to Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis was like the worst thing that could have happened to them in that first matchup because they were worried about all the Jordan Love pass game, and then they were like, what? Wait, we got to worry about Malik Willis now? We didn't talk about scramble drill all week. Jordan Love doesn't do that. We didn't talk about quarterback design run, right? Because Jordan Love doesn't really do that. So I'm going to say that Caleb rises, Ben Johnson rises the occasion. The game, if the Bears are going to win, it's going to be because of Caleb Williams. He has not dropped back and thrown the ball well in the drop back passing game against the Packers in either game. I think this is the one he'll get it straight. I'm gonna take the Bears 23-20, but listen, like I said, it won't be a best bet. I think it's a coin flip type of game.
23-17 for me, Bears as well. The Packers have to prove that they can win without Micah Parsons. They have to prove that they haven't become mentally broken in the aftermath of the Parsons injury. The Jordan Love, Malik Willis dynamic, I have said from the moment this game was locked in, they need to have a Malik Willis package. What will that do to Jordan Love? We saw how Jordan Love rushed his way back from a knee injury in 2024, the one that he suffered late in the Week 1 loss to the Eagles in Brazil. Came back after a couple of games, clearly wasn't healthy, but Malik Willis had played so well, he felt compelled to get back there. That adds another dynamic, and this will be, if the Bears win, obviously the last game for Malik Willis with the Packers. It also could be the last game for Matt LaFleur with the Packers. That's the other angle to this that we need to watch. And I hope, and I assume that Al Michaels will be all over that possibility. I mean, it's always awkward to talk about whether or not a guy's going to get fired, but we've already had 7 firings. That's the thing. It is an integral part of life in the NFL. 25% of the jobs, or roughly that many, come available every year. And it's foolish if we tell ourselves, well, he deserves to stay. Hey, the owners decide who deserves to stay and who doesn't. And Ed Policy made it clear. We've talked about this on PFT Live. No contract extension for LaFleur until after the season. And I don't like a lame duck situation. Well, LaFleur's only signed through 2026. They lose this one, and they finish 9-8-1 on a 5-game losing streak. That's where John Harbaugh could end up. That adds something extra to this one. I think Caleb Williams steps up in the postseason. It's his first taste of single elimination football. Ben Johnson, I said also this week that the fact that he was part of the failures in Detroit in recent years, it gives me some pause, but he wasn't running the show then. He is now. I feel like this is one that the Bears have to win, that it's pointing toward the Bears pulling off the victory. 23-17, it won't be easy. We saw what a fight it was. They were down 16-6 in the fourth quarter when they played on that Saturday night a few weeks back. But I think the Bears pulled it off, and they set the stage for another home game before they would have to go on the road, or maybe not. If the Rams would go to Seattle and win, could be Rams at Bears for the NFC Championship. Right. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the Sunday games, 3 of them, including Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence and Drake May's postseason debut. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned and PFT PM Joint Megapicks podcast.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code Cornerback when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
All right, PFT PM, Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with as the podcast is being taped, it just came across our radar screen that Mike McDaniel is out in Miami. That takes the number up to 8 teams that will be looking for new coaches. 8 and possibly counting. Hell, there could be 10 by the time it's all said and done. And one of those teams could be one of the teams playing on Sunday in the early game, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Some would say the window is already closed on the Bills. It just doesn't seem that way because they have the best player right now in the NFL in Josh Allen. They're 12-5, 6th seed on the road against the 3rd-seeded Jaguars, 13-4. The Bills are favored on the road by 1.5 points. This is the Chiefs effect. Like, even as the Chiefs were falling apart this year, what happened? They're favored every week. They're favored every week. They're favored every week. Because we can't we can't get our brains, as a betting public, we can't get our brains away from the idea that the Bills are elite and onto the idea that the Jaguars are.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, that's just it's unfortunately it's what the common football fan right now has been programmed to believe. Quarterback, you got a quarterback, you're the best. You got a quarterback, you're the best. You're the best quarterback. You got the best quarterback, you're the best. No, absolutely not, actually. No, absolutely not. I mean, you could argue them. I mean, Josh Allen's been the best quarterback in football for 3 years. I mean, you could argue that. I mean, Lamar Jackson, those years. It's got to be team, as we always talk about. And this has been the issue with Buffalo. Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I think I'm really excited for this football game. Josh Allen, you know my thoughts. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. His story is very much like John Elway's, and I feel like it's going to continue down John Elwayville right now. I don't think this is the year they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's enough of a team there, as you've heard me say before. I mean, again, I think the coaching out-coaches the talent a little bit on the football team. That's my feeling. That's just my opinion. When I look at the defense, again, I made the point to you this morning, I think. Nobody talks about anybody on Buffalo's defense as being, we have to game plan, we have to worry. I mean, not even a thought. You can't watch a show where anybody talks about any one player on Buffalo and goes, you better watch him. And on the offensive side of the ball, that doesn't really change either. You watch any show, it's just, Josh Allen, James Cook. That's all we know how to talk about. That's it. I mean, nobody for the Buffalo Bills is going to get all-pro consideration except for maybe Christian Benford in the corner. Other than that, no. So that says something. It says a lot, actually. And again, we go back to our base rules of if we combine the teams, right, how many players would we pick from each team? I think we'd pick a lot more Jacksonville players than we would Buffalo players here. I think this is a tough matchup for the Bills. I think the Bills are in trouble on defense. That's the first place I start. You know what I always tell you. McDermott, if you're good at either the pass or the run, he can find a defensive game plan when you're just good at one of those to kind of go all in and stop that. When he has to worry about both, and he's got to worry about both to the Jacksonville Jaguars because they can run for 150 yards on you or they could throw for 350 on you. They got weapons on the outside where you can go, wow, that's 3 tough matchups. They got a tight end who's very good and strange. And then they got a running back who can come out of the backfield and run and catch and do it all there. So when I think of all that, yeah, that's where I look at it. And also, I talk about McDermott and all that. I don't care and I don't really give a shit what the stats say. Buffalo is the number 7th ranked defense in football. Also within that, okay, they've played 2 top 15 offenses the whole year in football. 2. They played the Falcons, who were 14th, and the New England Patriots. Though the only 2 top of the league, top half of the league offenses they have played the whole year. The Jags offense is rolling right now. I think they can crush that Bills defense with the run of the pass, right? And, with when you play Buffalo, Mike, the first thing is contain Josh Allen. I think they got 2 guys on the edge, and Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker, who I think will be able to collapse the pocket and kind of corral him a little bit. And the other aspect of this is, yes, they can stop the run. It's the best run-stopping defense in football. I mean, they got Devon Hamilton, who's a run stopper. They got the other kid, Matt Dickerson, who's been starting in front of Eric Armstead, who's doing a really good job. They got 2 awesome linebackers. They play a lot of zone coverage. And that scares me a little bit against Buffalo because Allen's good at dicing up zone coverage. But the difference there is they're not going to be scared of playing the Bills man-to-man because the Bills don't have anybody to be scared of. So I don't think that's going to change a whole lot there. I'm going to take the Jaguars 34-24 in this one.
18 years had gone by between playoff appearances for the Buffalo Bills. They made it in 1999. That was the Music City Miracle loss.
Yeah, right.
They next made it in 2017 in Sean McDermott's first year. They went to Jacksonville. Tyrod Taylor got the start. They lost the game 10-3. That was the year the Jaguars almost made it to the Super Bowl. They were up 10 points in the second half against the Patriots. Should have been up 17. And they ultimately didn't make it to the Super Bowl, obviously, and the Patriots did, losing to the Eagles. 2019, they made it. 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. They made it every season except Josh Allen's rookie year. Sean McDermott has consistently put the Bills into contention. However, they've failed to get to a Super Bowl, obviously. They've been to the AFC Championship twice during Sean McDermott's run with a generational talent who is laying the foundation for a bronze bust in Canton, has won an MVP, and would be a serious MVP candidate this year if the Buffalo Bills, had more around him. So with all that said, I think that this is a coincidental or ironic bookend that it could be Sean McDermott's last game with the Bills, losing to the Jaguars in Jacksonville again in the playoffs, just as it all started 8 years ago. I don't know what Terry Pegula is going to do. I feel like if they lose this game, if they don't make a run this year, changes need to be made. Your criticism of the Bills focuses more on the talent, which would point to a new general manager. I think that it may be a combination, and you know how I am about half measures. If you're going to blow it up and start over again. John Harbaugh is one of the guys out there, and people in the know are looking at the Bills as one of the teams that possibly is scoping out a potential hire of Harbaugh. Not that it makes sense on the surface, because you got one guy that can't get to the Super Bowl with a generational talent. You replace him with another guy who couldn't get to the Super Bowl with a generational talent regardless. I think they're going to lose this game. The score that I have is 24-21, and that's going to spark some serious soul-searching in Buffalo at a time that is celebratory as they go into a new stadium. It's a weird time for this to come to a head, but I think if they lose to the Jaguars, it will come to a head because you're going to have a lot of pissed-off Bills fans that this is the year we didn't have Mahomes, we didn't have Burrow, we didn't have Lamar Jackson, and we couldn't get past Trevor Lawrence. It's going to, mark my words, watch what comes next week if the Bills lose that game, and it could lead to a groundswell that sparks some major changes. So we both agree on the win. You have the Jaguars by 10. I have them by 3. Now, 49ers at the Eagles. We talked earlier today about the Vic Fangio-Kyle Shanahan rivalry. They haven't met since 2018, but clearly Kyle Shanahan fears what Fangio can do to that offense. We saw what the Seahawks did, Chris, on Saturday night. They came out hitting hard from the get-go. They held the 49ers to 3 points. Philly is favored by 4.5. 49ers are the 6th seed. Eagles are the 3 seed. Over-under a 44.5. And it's a shame that these two teams are going to cancel each other out. One's going to be gone. Both are viable. It's a great wild card matchup, but it's a shame one of them is going to be one and done. Who is it, in your opinion, that makes the exit?
Right. Well, the 49ers are going to make the exit for my money. Again, you know me. I mean, I've been pretty steady in that I'm not a believer in the 49ers and what they are. Right, I believe like what you saw last week. It's like, if the coaching kind of can't carry them through and Shanahan can't have a great game plan, I don't think the Jimmy and Joes are up there with some of the upper echelon teams in football. That's what worries me about them. Now, with all that said, it's the Eagles. And the Eagles play every game ugly. Every. They're not capable. Are they capable of dominating a team? I don't know. I mean, that's where you give the 49ers a fighting chance. You talked about it this morning. The Eagles, every game, have at least 2 quarters, if not more, where you go, where is the offense? Are they going to show up today? Can they stay on the field for more than 3 plays? I mean, it's laughable at times at what you see there. But I feel like this Eagles defense is, very similar in theory to the Seattle Seahawks and what they do. It's creative. It's sound, right? They can play simple and sound to be tough to beat, and then Vic Fangio can just add a little trick and smoke and mirrors here, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I don't know what I'm getting. Their personnel is phenomenal, right? I have a hard time thinking that the 49ers are just going to be able to run the ball with a healthy defensive front now in Philadelphia. I certainly think they're going to have a hard time separating from Philadelphia in the pass game. I mean, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are first-team All-Pros for me. That's the best nickel and the best cover corner in all of football are those two guys. So, yeah, with all of that, I think the talent on the field, I would go, Philly should dominate San Francisco. But Philly's offense has not been able to run all year. It does Shanahan's magic, and then Saleh being able to find a way to go, wait, we can somewhat slow this run down, and then we can figure out this simple pass game. I do think that gives them a fighting chance. I'm going to say it's an ugly 20-14 win by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Man, we almost had a bingo, bango, bongo. I got 20-13. I think the Eagles just have more talent. The 49ers have held it together as long as they possibly could. The loss to the Seahawks was the stark reminder that there's only so much you can do to coach your way out of a critical mass of injuries. They're going to be down to Eric Kendricks at middle linebacker this week because Fred Warner's not ready to return and Tatum Bethune is out. It's just another one. Nick Bosa's been gone since week 3. The receivers, you never know who's going to show up. Trent Williams, I know Brock Purdy expressed optimism when I had a chance to talk to him earlier this week about Williams playing this weekend. Well, he didn't practice on Wednesday, so who knows? Christian McCaffrey has that back that got banged up against the Chicago Bears. And the Eagles, healthy and motivated and driven and at home, and Jalen Carter's back, and it's going to be very tough to deal with that defense, which is good at every level. And I don't know that it propels the Eagles back to the Super Bowl, but it's not a one-and-done situation for the Eagles, and it's a shame because I think the 49ers, it's just luck of the draw. If they were going to Carolina this week, they'd advance. If they were going to Chicago this week, who knows? Maybe they'd advance. They just beat them at home a couple of weeks ago, but I think it's the end of the road for the 49ers in a year that not that long ago looked like it could be destined for a Super Bowl berth and win. 49ers out 20-13. You've got 20-14. Either way, we both see the Eagles.
If the Eagles run the ball
a
little bit, right, I could see the game being 30-14, right? If they can just run, but I don't know if I trust that, and that's why I say 20-14.
All right, the next game on the docket is the Sunday night game on NBC and Peacock. The Chargers, 7th seeded in the AFC at 11-6. They move on to New England, where the 2-seeded Patriots are 14-3 and favored by 3.5. It is the playoff debut for Drake May, over under a 46.5. 36 degrees, cloudy with rain before kickoff. Can the Chargers go to New England and end what has been an unexpectedly magical season for the Patriots?
Well, I do think they can do that, right? I put this game in the category of the Bears-Packers, where I go, this is a coin flip game. I know, like, usually the 2-7 game, right? I believe the 2 has pretty much dominated that series, except for the Packers a few years ago beating the Cowboys, right? And the Jordan Love come out of, nowhere playoff game where they went bombs away on the Packers on the Cowboys and got that huge lead. Other than that, it's been the 2 seed dominating. But I think we're on a weekend here in Wild Card Weekend, which speaks to how even the playoffs are and how crazy the year is, to where I wouldn't be shocked if both 7 seeds won. I wouldn't. The Chargers, I think, deliberately took this matchup, looking at it going, we match up better with the Patriots than any of the other teams that we could have matched up with in the top 3 positions, right? So that's where I look at that. I think that's interesting. They played each other last year, and I know it was Gerard Mayo and all that, but the Chargers absolutely blew the Patriots off the field in that matchup, right? So there is that. But it's a Chargers team that we know has been beat up on the offensive line. There's that component. It's a Patriots defense that I do like, and I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to run the ball consistently on this Patriots defense, right? The thing I do look at is going, I do think they can attack Carlton Davis. We've seen the Patriots asleep at the wheel on defense and early on in football games. So that's where it's interesting. And Justin Herbert has willed his team and made more backyard plays than ever before that we've seen this year, at least. And he's been incredible that way. But I trust the Patriots run game more. I trust that Josh McDaniels can crack the code of Jesse Minter more than I trust that Greg Roman's going to crack the code of Mike Vrabel and the defensive side of the ball, right? The thing I worry about is, like you said, it's Drake May's first start. This is new territory for this New England team. And the Chargers are a little bit, they're veteran. I think they're determined to stop this playoff drought. So they're a little calloused and tough that way. and battle tested, and that's what scares me. But I'm going to take the Patriots 20-17 at home. But I'll tell you, Mike, this might be one of those rare instances on Sunday night where I go the other way after a few more days of thinking of this. I think it's that close of a football game.
Well, if you go the other way, then it counts for this because that gives me a chance to carve in because I'm never changing. The hands off the checker. I got the Patriots 27-20. I am concerned about Drake May. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what did it for me, that game against the Texans, they were keenly aware that it was an opportunity to get some redemption for losing in the playoffs last year on the road in Houston when they were favored, and they weren't able to beat the Texans. They ended up in a deep hole, and they just couldn't dig their way out of it. Now, there was a questionable illegal contact foul on the Texans' drive that if it had ended there on a third down sack would have given the Chargers a chance to try to win the game. But regardless, they didn't win the game. I'm just not ready to trust the Chargers in a big moment. I don't think they have enough quality players who are healthy to make the difference
around a valid point.
Justin Herbert.
Right.
And with Justin Herbert, there's always that chance it's going to be an off night. I mean, he's got the capability to have great performances all the time, and I am not doubting him as a franchise quarterback. But what happened last year in the playoffs against the Texans? What did he have? Did he have 4 interceptions against the Texans last year?
Right.
Multiple, more than 2.
Yeah.
So I think the Patriots at home, Mike Vrabel's been there and done that. I know Jim Harbaugh has too, but Vrabel, just the whole vibe, you know.
Yeah, I hear you.
This is the year that they get past the funk of the post-Brady, post-Belichick era. They haven't won a postseason game since Super Bowl 53. This is their first division title since 2019. They lost to the Titans and Vrabel at home in the wild card round 6 years ago. I just think this is one that the Patriots will their way to a victory in. I don't know where it goes from here, and I think the road will end in Denver if it gets that far. But at least for now, they get another home game against however the rest of the playoff tree shakes out. But Patriots win 27-20. I won't be changing my mind on that one, and I hope you do because we've agreed on everything so far. How the hell am I going to close the gap if we agree on all of these frickin' Week 1 playoff games? We'll see if we agree on the last game for Don't Call It Super Wildcard Weekend.
Oh, you're like an Aaron Rodgers,
at the Steelers.
Okay,
Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Go ahead.
PFTPM.
Do it.
Joint Megapicks podcast.
Do it.
Back
Do
after
it.
This.
I'm at the point, I'm done, I'm out. I know he's got a plan, I know I'm going to cover him, and I actually was duped into becoming very smitten with the Aaron Rodgers story. We like a good story. Aaron Rodgers is the Jets quarterback, great story. Not as great this year as it was last year, hard knocks. It worked. It sucked me in. Now I'm out. And I'm not like temporarily out. I'm out. And if I ever end up back in, I want somebody to play this for me and say, hey, remember this guy? You are out. Get out.
2 years later.
Give me Aaron Rodgers against the Houston
You
Texans.
like an Aaron
Monday night.
Rodgers, eh?
I like it, Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
I don't know who that asshole down in his Olive Garden kitchen was. I don't know what happened to that guy. But look, that was after a year where he tears an Achilles tendon on the 4th play from scrimmage and then doesn't disappear and go rehab like Tom Brady did when he suffered a Week 1 ACL tear in 2008. He was hovering over the team. Will he come back? I mean, they were doing okay without Aaron Rodgers that year, but he was this constant cloud, and it was this will he or won't he. And, yeah, I was done. I was out. And based upon what happened in the 24 season, it was 5-12. He started every game, his worst season as a full-time starter. But this year, he made the right pick. He went to Pittsburgh, and it worked out by a missed field goal. Think about that. The Aaron Rodgers legacy, at least the late career legacy, saved by Tyler Loop. Harbaugh fired, Aaron Rodgers' legacy restored, and now we see if he can win a playoff game. He's on house money at this point, Chris, as we get into the Monday night game. The 5th-seeded Texans at 12-5, taking on the 4th-seeded Steelers at 10-7. Houston is favored by 3 on the road with an over-under of 39.5. Well, the Ravens were favored by 3.5 last week. How'd that work out? This one will be fun, and I am seriously considering finding a way to attend the game. I don't want to sit out in the crowd. I got to wait for a high roller to offer me a suite, but I will wait patiently for the opportunity to go to the game. I guess I could sit in the press box, but you can't wave your terrible towel in the press box. No cheering in the press box.
Or you can't go sit out in the stands like a real fan and enjoy it and like dress warm and be a man? Come on. Aren't you a man?
No. No.
I know you're not. All right. So, okay, but
I would be rooting for the Steelers. They may not want me rooting for the Steelers.
Yeah.
And you never know what kind of projectiles are going to come your way in a crowd like that. So I'd have to wear a disguise or something. But
wow.
I don't know. I'd like to go.
So
we're trying to work it out.
We've come full circle. I mean, it was Kirk Cousins, and now it's Aaron Rodgers. I love you. I love you not. I love you. Oh, I can't stand you and the things you say. Oh, I love you again. Oh my gosh, you're a idiot. Get out of the way. You talk too much. I love you. Go ahead.
That's okay. It makes it fun.
Break it down first there, Slugger. Let me hear about your second favorite team in all of life behind the Vikings, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tell me.
A wise man and you once said that the Texans' defense is good enough to win games all by itself. And look, when the Texans had their first resurgence from dysfunction in 2023, the Steelers went down there and got the shit kicked out of them, out-physicaled, everything about it at the point of attack, the line of scrimmage, the leverage, everything. I don't have the final score in front of me. Pete, can you check it? It was like week 3 of 2023. The Steelers got embarrassed. I think it was something like 30-10 or something in that ballpark. But that was the first eye-opener that the Texans are turning this thing around under DeMeco Ryans. So the Steelers are going to have to deal with that. 30-6 was the final score. Was it week 3, Pete? Was it week 3? I think it was week 3. Week 4.
You're
okay,
close. You're
enough.
close.
Right church, wrong pew. Week 4. 30-6 week 4. I thought it was 30-10 week 3. Regardless, I remember Mike Tomlin saying after the game, we just got out-physicaled. And they did. And now they get an opportunity with the Texans coming to town, with the Steelers on house money. The Steelers shouldn't be there. Tyler Loop should have made the 44-yard field goal. And I think that this is just one of those games. You know, they've got to get more out of the running game. They need Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell to step up. DK Metcalf is back, and that's going to provide a kick in the ass to a passing game that was just not good enough against the Browns, but just good enough against the Ravens. Calvin Austin with that double move, that sick double move that left the defensive back on the ground for the go-ahead and ultimate game-winning touchdown catch from Aaron Rodgers. I just feel like it's one of those things where, you know, the football gods smiled on the Steelers last week. And I think that the Steelers, look, they'll probably lose 26-7 like they did against the Bills and just get completely steamrolled. But I have to let it ride. I have to. As I wear a Vikings hoodie and I swing a Steelers terrible towel, I got to let it ride. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is not going to go out this way.
Right.
Mike Tomlin, if he's going to go to TV, is not going to go out this way. Cam Hayward, if this is his last year, and who knows, he's not going to go out this way. TJ Watt's back. DK Metcalf's back. He's going to be on a mission in that game. Steelers 16-13 over the Texans.
Okay, all right. And what about God? Who does he want, right? Because you talked about the football gods, but tell me about real God. Who does he want in this one?
I don't know. I mean, I assume that there's going to be more holy water thrown on the field in Pittsburgh. It already worked once. We know about superstitions in football.
Yeah.
So if you're already putting holy water on the field, you got to go back. They got to get the priest back, because you put the holy water on the field, then God wants the Steelers to win and God hates the Texans. We know how that works.
But God's got a lot of problems right now, so he better get to work all around the world. All right, so the next thing we'll talk about.
That's my point. That's my point. God doesn't care.
I know.
Can we stop with thank God for the win? God doesn't care.
Thank you. I got it. Thank you. We know. All right. So here we go. All right. I hear everything you say. I get scared of that too. You know my thoughts on the Texans defense. It's a Super Bowl defense. They're 0.2 points away from having the trifecta: best scoring defense, best total defense, right? All together. All right. So they're a special defense that way. And in some ways, I go, hey, the short passing game for Rodgers and company, that might help them. But, like, the Texans are going to smother it. The more and more I think about it, the Texans just aren't going to go down that way. The Texans are like the 49ers teams you always used to talk about. It's the most aggressive physical defenses in football. They're going to have an extra day to rest. There's not a lot schematically to worry about with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Rodgers, typically against these kind of pass rushes right here, he's antsy as hell in his older age, and he can't sit in there. So there's no way I could pick him in this moment here. And on top of that, I think what's being lost in translation a little with the Texans is the offense is starting to make explosive plays and kind of become a machine. And I think they're the kind of team, too, that the Steelers, as we saw last Sunday night, in certain situations, they'll go all in. Like, oh, it's 3rd and 2. We're just going to play everybody on run defense. And then you fake the run, and it's like, oh, there's Zay Flowers, and there's nobody there. That happened 3 different times in the game because the Steelers know they're not that good on defense. So they have to go all in at times. The Texans, they're not afraid to go, oh, you're going all in? We'll throw an 80-yard bomb over your head, C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, and do all of that. So the only thing I look at is if they play and dangle and play with fire with DK Metcalf, where they just go, we're going to leave Stingley or we're going to leave him one-on-one all game long, which I don't think they will do. That's the only way I could see it happening. I think this is a slow beatdown by the Houston Texans. I'm going 27-10.
Well, I knew you were going to go Texans.
Yeah.
I can't bail on the Steelers at this point, not after what happened on Sunday night with that missed field goal and that exciting game. One of the most exciting fourth quarters of the entire season, and what a way to end the regular season. What a way to end the first week of the postseason if the Steelers make it happen again. Let's go, Steelers. Get the holy water out and the pasta and meatballs. Best bets and Folsom Prison Blues pick next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned at PFTPM. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Chris. You sound like you're my family from Kentucky or something like Christopher.
Chris.
Or you sound
Let's go
like
eat some squirrel, Chris.
I really sounded like Randy Moss there.
Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Simms.
Simms. You might have the best hands on the team. All right. I used to say that to him all the time for people who are not in on that joke. Me and Randy Moss, 2010 Tennessee Titans, we would play during scout team at times, throw the ball, you get 3 points if you hit him in the head, you get 1 point if you hit in the chest, and we would play that game back and forth, or catch the ball one hand, and it's one of the great memories of my life playing with a legend like that.
Oh, that's incredible. I love Randy Moss.
Yep.
I envy you for that and only for that. All right, let's do our best bets. Give me one.
Well, I'm going the Jaguars. I mean, you know my thoughts there. They're underdogs. They're at home, and I think they're clearly the better team. They're underdogs by 1.5. I got them winning by 14. I'm going Jags.
I'm going to go with the LA Rams, sorry, sir, 10.5. I think the Rams are going to show us all that they are a true Super Bowl contender. Who else you got?
Meow. See, Jacksonville is, but the Panthers are meow. If you get them to lose, they can't do that. All right, my next one is, how about them Texans? Yes, the king of the state of Texas, the Houston Texans, excuse me. It's no longer the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I'm on that bandwagon of the Houston Texans and that defense and what they're doing. I got them winning 27-10. They're favored by 3. I'm thinking they're going to whoop that ass with you in attendance.
All right, I've taken the bait. Let's go Steelers. Give me the Steelers getting 3 because this is another one of those nights. However it happens, holy water, pasta and meatballs, pierogies,
holy shit is what I say if they pull it off. Okay.
Who's your Folsom Prison Blues?
I'm going to take the Rams over the Panthers.
All right, here we go. Woo!
See ya. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.